Hey Tina, I believe that this will be a great video. We're going to talk about the creed.
Hello everyone, Tina Getz with St. John's Faith Formation. I'm back with Eli McMahon. Hi.
Hi.
So we're finally here. We get to talk about why do we sing the creed?
The moment that everyone's been waiting for.
Yes.
Yeah. So, why do we sing the creed? No one does this.
Right.
No one sings the creed. So there's a lot of things that go into this, into the decision to actually sing the creed. First of all, we're going to talk about something called progressive solemnity.
Ooh.
So progressive solemnity is this idea that Fathers of Vatican II brought forward to say, here is how we can build stepping stones into singing more of the Mass. Back in the day, like AD 300s, 400s, 500s, 600s, they would say that a priest sung the Mass. They wouldn't say that he said the Mass,
Okay.
right? Because it was the norm at that time for them to sing everything that was sacred. And this mirrors the music of heaven. Now, it was the norm at that time that they sang the entire liturgy. We've fallen away from that practice a lot, right? Like, especially, we can think of like daily masses where it's said, and that's okay. Like, said masses are okay, but Vatican II was pointing us in this direction of we should sing a lot more of the Mass.
Wow.
And so they laid out this rule that we can use to say, okay, what parts of the Mass do we sing then? So they laid it out in 3 degrees. The first degree is like, if you add any music, it should be this. The first degree is the dialogues. So whenever the priest says, like, the Lord be with you and with your spirit, that's the first thing to add. Okay. So it's and then all of the priest's parts as well, and the Sanctus. Okay. Those are the first things that it lays out. So that's the first degree. The second degree is like, okay, now once you've added those things, here we can add the next things. The second degree is the rest of the ordinary of the Mass. Okay. So the Gloria, the Agnus Dei, and the Creed.
Ooh.
And the Our Father.
And the
Our Father. It's more normal for us to sing the Our Father, right?
Right.
But we're so not used to singing the Creed, especially as part of the ordinary of the Mass. Right. And yet it's just the second degree. Right. Now, there's another degree. The third degree is like, okay, now once you've added all of the ordinary Mass and all the priest's parts and all the dialogues, okay, now you can start to sing the propers. So these are like the responsorial psalm, the Alleluia, all those chants, any hymns that you would sing fall into that category.
So when you say degrees, you mean of importance of when we should be singing in the Mass?
These are the things that so first degree, we should sing these first. Once we add those, then we should sing the second degree. Mm-hmm. Once we add those, then we should sing the third degree. Okay. And ideally, you would use all of the degrees all the time.
Right. Wow.
But that's not necessarily feasible.
Right.
And so that's not a hard and fast rule. Okay. They said, here's the way that you can do it, but it's also the only way that they set out as this is a proper way to do it. Okay. So just because other churches aren't singing the Creed doesn't mean they're doing something wrong necessarily. They can do it that way. But the question is, okay, so what is fitting to bring to the Mass? So now we get into some practical stuff. So what does music do in the Mass? Why do we sing in the Mass? And why would we want to sing more of the Mass, more texts of the Mass? The first thing that it does, and you have a quote about this,
yes,
is it elevates the importance of those words that we're saying.
Right. And so, I did a little research because I wanted to know why we're singing the Creed. And I found this quote. It says, confessing the great mysteries of our faith and pertaining to the Creed is greatly enhanced by the marriage of melody and word. Music often expresses the mysteries that words cannot.
And that in itself is just beautiful. Like the music says something. If I'm singing my heart out to God, especially about these are the things that you've told me to be true. Right. That's a beautiful thing. Now also singing in itself just like it draws our attention too. So if someone is like singing in the public square you notice them, right?
Right.
There's someone who's singing operatically in the middle of Walmart. Like, you're going to notice them.
Right.
Something is important about what they're saying.
Right.
The same thing happens in Mass, even though music belongs much more to Mass than it does into Walmart.
Right.
Is that when somebody sings something, oh, now my attention is on it.
Yep.
And this helps us in the other way too, is it helps us to remember that.
Yep.
Too.
Because we work with a couple people who said that they've heard you playing the creed, like they were out like in the gathering space or something, and then they just automatically started singing the creed in their head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
I've had a few choir members. Yeah. I've had choir members. I've had people come up to me and say, I was kind of ambivalent about the creed. Like, you could go either way, whatever. Yeah. And they've come up to me afterwards, after we've done it for a little while, and said, "See, I wasn't ambivalent about it, but then I started humming it while I was doing the dishes." And there's this whole new element of, oh, I recall that beautiful moment in the Mass where I was singing about God's mysteries to God, and now I can recall that while I'm doing the dishes.
Right.
That's a powerful thing. There's a reason why when you learn things in school, you learn them to songs. Like, I learned the countries of the world to a song, and I still remember countries of the world. Like, I still remember the tune. And several of the countries because of that.
Right.
It's super useful for that.
Right. Well, and then going back to what you said, it elevates the text. So during COVID, when we couldn't go to Mass, I have a habit of, my prayer habit is to do the Liturgy of the Hours. And you very, very much in Liturgy of the Hours, which is reading the Psalms of the day, you very much get in a habit and you just start zooming through it. And you lose your consciousness. Because I missed worshiping, I found myself trying out chant with the Psalms. And in doing that, it brought my mind to think about the text that I'm saying. It brought that prayer to a different level. And that's basically the same thing what you're saying with the creed. Right? It helps us pay attention. It elongates it, so it's more of a meaningful prayer.
Yeah. And the other concern that I've had raised is, but the kids aren't singing it and they're just learning it, or, but I'm not singing it and I don't feel like I'm not participating in that part of Mass anymore. We talked about this a little bit last video, of just because you're not singing or saying those words doesn't mean you're not participating. Like, your participation is, as always, it's the inward orientation of your heart. Are you aligning yourself with these words? And that naturally expresses itself in singing too. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you see every bit of participation in everyone present. You can't look at the person next to you and say, "You're not participating." Okay.
It's a Catholic thing.
The other thing is, the next question is, are you singing? Even if it's not familiar, are you singing? Are you giving your heart over to it and participating in that music, even if you're not perfect and you don't know the music super well? You're going to learn from doing. You're going to learn from giving that gift to God of, I'm going to try to sing the creed today. So I would challenge anyone who's thinking, oh, but the kids aren't singing it, let them see you doing it. And learn that, oh, this is what we do at Mass. Because it's a beautiful gift that you can give to God. He'll take your efforts, whatever they may be, and they're a beautiful gift to him.
Yeah, it's just getting used to it. It's something that's unfamiliar. And once we do, it's really beautiful. So, all right, awesome. Thanks. All right, well, I think we're coming to the end of some of these videos, but I think I got a couple more I'd like to do. And so thanks. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Of course.
All right. God bless.
That was really good. You really do well. I always seem like I do a lot of bloopers.
Well, you hear your uhs and I hear mine. It's for